In 2015, Stefan Swanepoel released the famous Danger Report, commissioned by the National Association of Realtors to help the industry prepare for future risks. The very first point in the report referred to masses of marginal agents destroying the realtor reputation. Fast forward to 2026, and we're still working to solve this problem. Today, we're bringing in Don Burns. Don is the Senior Vice President of Brokerage for Reese Nichols and is the manager for the Leawood locations. As part of his role, Don has helped thousands of realtors build their business and strive for excellence. We'll be discussing the various roles within our industry and how we can continue to redefine excellence as realtors. I'm Alex Gehring, and this is Kansas City Real Talk. Don, how are you doing today?
Alex, I'm doing great. I love being on the show. You've asked me, what now, 100 times?
It's like
I've turned
every
you
week.
down 99, but today's your lucky day.
I have begged you to be on this show for the last 8 years that we've been doing
I
it.
think it was when you sent over the Big Mac deal meal is that what got me to come.
The Big Mac deal. What? Are you a Big Mac guy?
I love McDonald's. This is my favorite restaurant.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that because business principles?
No, it could be. Oh, yeah. Here's the deal. McDonald's, anywhere you go, it's the same. So in any country you travel, except in India, because I know that my son is traveling in India right now, and they don't offer cheeseburgers or any beef, but they still have chicken McNuggets. You like chicken McNuggets, right?
I not so much.
But
Not a McDonald's guy.
Oh, okay.
If the consistency isn't that big of a turn on for me.
Really? So if you're really hungry, you're in an airport, you've been traveling the whole time, and I know if I order a 2A, I'm going to get a quarter pounder cheese meal.
No, I'm
Okay.
not. I'm not. That's not me, man.
All right, let's move on then.
Let's move on. Let's start. I think almost everybody in the industry knows your name. You've been in the industry for a long time. When did you get licensed?
Oh, gosh, my license 2003, but I didn't pull it into active status until 2009.
Your dad was in the business, George Burns.
George Burns, yes, and my grandfather was in the business, Donald Harris. So all the way back to Hardin and Stockton days. And then my dad was obviously a broker for, at the time, J.C. Nichols and to Reese Nichols, and also an attorney before that.
So you're a third-generation realtor.
Real estate broker.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Real estate broker
Yes.
specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before real estate, what did you do?
So when I graduated University of Kansas, I went out to California, and I worked for a company called E&J Gallo Winery. Are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not.
And I was selling wine up and down the West Coast from San Diego to Los Angeles, and then maneuvered through many different positions with Gallo in sales and leadership, and then decided to move back to Kansas City in early 2000s, and I worked for Standard Beverage Corporation as the vice president of sales and development, and did that until around 2008 when the market started to kind of crumble, and decided this is a pretty good time to get into real estate. When I told George Burns that, my dad, he was like, "What the hell are you thinking?" And I said, "This is a great time. Everybody is pouring out of the business, and I'm going to come into the business." So it worked out well for me starting in 2009.
Talk to me about that. What do you when you say it worked out well for you? What were the challenges that you were experiencing in 2009?
Well, when I did my business plan, when I was looking at this, I saw that there was a lot of white space gaps. I saw agents that were leaving the business that had carried through 2005, 2006. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was pretty easy to sell a house then, and so
I was in high school, so
you saw a lot of houses in your neighborhood selling.
Saw a lot
What
of
are you
houses
saying,
in
Alex? That I'm older than you? I know.
I'm not trying to, but
Yes.
you said that like I know.
I know. Michael Pierce will remember. He's
Michael
old.
Pierce
like
will
me.
remember.
So anyway, I saw the opportunity for somebody that could come in and systematically put the sales process into place into the real estate format, understanding real estate from growing up, and was very successful in doing that. Now, at the time, I did not realize that a house sitting on the market for 200 days, average days on market, was the average, or was the normal. And so learning that process and selling a bunch of houses at that time, made me realize that this is kind of more of a buyer's market than it is a seller's market that we're in, obviously, a little bit today. And so I deployed just a lot of the things that I had learned from, Gallo on building relationships, on negotiation skills, on digging into talking with folks and saying, hey, I know you like your house, but if you could live anywhere in Kansas City, where would it be? And they'd say, I'd love to live in Prairie Village. Okay, so then as I'm out and about and I find a house that matched their criteria, I give them a phone call. This might be the one. This might be one that you want to check out. That seemed to work pretty well for me.
Eventually you got into management.
I did.
Why the pivot into management?
Well, so my background was always in management, and why I left.
You wanted to get out of it?
I wanted to get out of it. Yes, for sure, and do my own thing. And unfortunately for me, I did really well in real estate. I was the Reese Nichols Rookie of the Year. I doubled up my next year, and I had a lunch with Jerry Reese, and Jerry Reese said, your dad was a broker, your grandfather was a broker, you're a natural leader, I want you to be a broker. And I said, thanks, but no thanks. And Jerry Reese, the persistent person that he is, I just saw him the other day, he was in the office, said, well, you know what, I want you to go home and think about it. And I went home, I called George, I said, here's the opportunity. He said, why not? You should take it. The worst thing is you get your broker's license. If you don't like it, you can go back into sales. You can start your own company, whatever you want to do. The next morning at 8:30, I don't know if you know this, Jerry Reese Marine, called up and said, so what's your answer? And I said, let's do it.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And how did everything change at that point for you?
Well, everything changed because I walked away from the business that I was building into Reese Nichols' worst office that they had that was losing money, and had to sit there and look at it and go, okay, we got to get this thing turned around, which at the time Reese Nichols had 16 offices. The 16th office was 4 people in Wyandotte County. The 15th office was Johnson County West, and by the time I left there 2 years from the date, it was the number 5 office in the company, and then headed into the big office at Leawood that my father was leaving and retiring and going back out to San Diego, where I came from.
And how did you grow that office? How did you make that happen?
It's like, are you familiar with sports?
Yeah.
And you inherit.
Sure. Very familiar.
Very familiar with sports. Yeah, right, Alex. Sometimes it takes a coaching change, and all, the people that were in there before me are doing a good job. I just have a different philosophy, and my philosophy is basically built around, I want to build your businesses. I want to be a partner with you, and I want to help you in any way I can. What that looks like is you may want to sell more houses. You may not want to sell more houses, but I'm here to help any way I can. And I remember the first week or two that I was in there, not very popular. A lot of people were complaining, talking with the staff. And so I had a big meeting, and I said, this is your opportunity, guys, to either kind of be with me and kind of the vision that I've got here where I'm going to help you build and grow, or you can go somewhere else. And on that night, about 8 agents left, and I had the license book out, and I signed those agents, and they went to other brokerages, which was great. I mean, I like all brokerages. Then with everybody left, I said, we're going to demonstrate how to be a very successful real estate office. And from there, via recruiting and via training the agents up and being present and being a part of what they're wanting to do, we did what we said we were going to do, which is build the program, just like building a basketball program from the ground up.
One of the things that's such a great opportunity to have you on the show, and the reason why I sent you that Big Mac voucher or whatever, is because in your own trajectory, you've experienced multiple parts of the business, but also you have been the broker for probably over 1,000 agents over time.
I'd say more
than that.
Yeah.
How many agents do you think that you've been the
I'd say
broker
thousands.
of thousands?
Yes.
I mean, that's a pretty unbelievable thing, and that's individuals that have had extremely strong careers, teams that have had extremely strong careers. You have helped many teams form, and and you have seen people through extraordinarily successful businesses. So one of the things that I want to do with you is kind of go through all of the layers of the business.
Okay.
And ask you questions about what makes these people successful.
Okay, that
and
works.
what also sets people up for I don't want to say failure, but what sets them up for having a hard time and possibly failure. First thing I want to talk to you about is management.
Okay.
You got into management. Now you manage managers,
Yes.
right? What is it in addition to managing agents, right? Well, I feel like the person that got me into management told me that people can get into management for the wrong reasons. What are the wrong reasons to get into management?
The title, number one. I want a title. I mean, a title's great, but it doesn't really mean anything. For your own glory, you want to get into management because it's what you learned that you should do. You should advance. You should get into management, and I think those are the two big reasons not to step into management. Also thinking that you're going to, in real estate terms, make a lot more money in management. And the reality is the agents are the ones that make the money, and we want them to make the money. That's the people that are selling the houses on a daily basis. So those are the three, I say, if we want to put it into real estate, those are three reasons not to get into management.
What is a good reason, like what makes somebody a successful manager? What's a good reason to get into management?
You want to help people. You want to partner with people. You have this wherewithal where if I can get in, I know what I'm doing really well, and if I can bring this to a bigger stage and help other people do what I'm doing, that is going to satisfy something in me as a person that I can just be bigger at the next level by helping other people.
And
it's kind of more philosophical for me than all that.
Yeah, I think that there are so many different models in the industry now, which is not a bad thing, right? That's a good thing. And the role of a manager is different, kind of from company to company. Do you feel that a manager makes, and obviously this is such a bias, like an easy question, right? I'm teeing this up for you. I'm not trying to, but what is the difference that a strong manager can make in an agent's business compared to somebody who is just, in it for a quote unquote easy paycheck, right? Failed at selling and wants to get into something that's a W-2. What's the difference that can make for an agent's career?
Yeah, that's good. So the number one thing you don't want to be or hire is a failed real estate agent to be a manager. The reason why managers are successful, or in my case, why I think I'm very successful, is I've walked the walk in the agent's shoes. Mm-hmm. I've had lots of listing appointments. I've had a lot of buyers. I've had a team. I've built a business out. I know what works and what doesn't. I know how to explore businesses and say, hey, you're spending too much money here, Alex. You should be doing this over here. And I think if you were an agent and if you were honest with yourself, that's the kind of partner that you want, that is going to saddle up next to you and say, I'm looking at this business outside in, and here's where I think you need to go to be even more successful. Here's what I think you need to cut. Here's what I think you need to add. And that is what I believe somebody should find important with somebody that's available all the time. I mean, we call Aaron Bossi and I call ourselves the Las Vegas brokers. We're available 24/7, and we are. I mean, we work when you do. So if it's 10 o'clock and I'm awake and you got an issue, let's solve it. I don't want you going to bed worried about it. I'd rather have you fresh in the morning. And I think that is a skill set, understanding all of the contracts and knowing that you're out there trying to help this industry grow is the most important part of being a manager, at least for me.
What time do you go to bed?
It depends. It depends. I do like to read a lot, so however long I can stay up reading.
So, like I mentioned, you've helped a lot of people start teams over the years, right?
A lot.
Before we get into teams, actually, let's talk about individuals.
Yep.
So you've seen a lot of people build large individual businesses.
Yes.
And that isn't for everybody. That isn't for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the characteristics that a top agent has that sets them apart and makes them able to accomplish that high level of production?
As far as individuals,
I
think it's somebody that just wants to go out and be the person that's running their business. When I came out, I'll use myself as an example, and I got into real estate, I had offers from many teams. A lot of teams are great, and we'll get into that. I wanted to tackle this from my own approach, and I think individuals that have a solid business plan. And I was talking to Mike Frazier, our CEO, the other day. It is amazing to me, Alex, since I've been in the broker position and beyond, how many agents do you think have actually brought a business plan to me and presented it as they were getting into the business with their license?
No, less than 5%, less than 2%.
Two people, and I can name them. I'm not going to. They know who they are.
Yeah.
But that business, and those are both very successful agents. Those are both, one's an individual and one's an individual with a small team. But knowing where you're going to go and knowing how you're going to attack this market and understanding who you're dealing with and what you're trying to accomplish lets you be more of an individual than on a team. Erin Bossi and I all talk about all the time. Erin joined a team at the beginning because she wanted the name recognition of the team she was on, the instant luxury that brought to, selling luxury real estate that brought to her. She didn't want to try to recreate that wheel. And that's what a lot of agents do. I think a lot of individual agents want to try to challenge the wheel, and they want to go out and say, I'm going to conquer in a way I want to. I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to have to report to anybody. I want to build this concept the way that I want. And I think that that's amicable. And I think if you're doing it in today's real estate world, you have to be really, really, really good at understanding businesses. And you have to have a huge support cast behind you, because if you're an individual agent, you cannot do, and I'm sorry, I challenge anybody to challenge me on this, you can't do prospecting, listing appointments, buyers, social media, AI work, running around with photographers, doing all these things, and be super successful. You could do it if you want to sell a couple houses, but you'll burn yourself out. You will. If you're working on one piece, another piece is failing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Some ball is being dropped somewhere, and you might not notice it until you're a year or two down the road.
So the good individual agent knows, here's where I need to hire to help me out. And if you don't have a business plan or something that tells you when that time period is, then you're already failing your own business that you're trying to deploy.
You said that there are agents that challenge the wheel, and I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. Give me an example of a way that somebody has challenged the wheel in the past.
Well, you look at this. You look at this business, and on its head, it's a pretty simplistic business. You're coming in, you're building relationships with people, and you're going out and you're trading houses, you're selling houses and buying houses. And I think that the way that you could look at it, if you typed in Google how to be a good real estate agent, or if you AI'd it and said, "What is this?" it's going to give you standards of how to do it. But I really liked, and one of the ones that I followed when I was there is attacking the market where you are, and not trying to be everything to everybody. And what I mean by how that means challenging the wheel is, you're not going to go on a buyer's consultation and drive all around the city like everybody else does. You're going to refer that business out if they want to go. If you're in Johnson County, for example, and you want to go north of the river. And that's challenging the wheel, because a lot of people are like, well, then I'm giving away money. But in reality, you're not. You're focusing on your center of where you want to sell, and you're putting a lot of emphasis and efforts into that. So you're challenging the philosophy of I want to be everything to everybody, which I think runs a lot of agents out of the business.
When you got started, you were an individual agent.
Yes.
How has the environment changed for individual agents today compared to when you got started in 2008?
So this is an interesting one. I was thinking about this the other day. So I started as an individual agent but I called myself the Don Burns Group. And the parody that was out there, every time I went somewhere, my friends would make fun of me. Oh, there's Don Burns with the Don Burns Group. Where's your group? There is no group. It's me. But I wanted to showcase that because I knew it was going to build out. So very early on, Alex, I realized that there's a lot more to do than just be an agent. There's at the time, this is 2009, 2010, social media, is on there, and social media wasn't my forte. Obviously, I'm a little older, didn't grow up with social media, so I love it and I know how to do it. I just don't have the time to plan it. So very early on, I hired someone to do social media, which was a huge relief. The second thing that I realized really quickly is that I'm not a big fan of hauling buyers around to see 20 houses. If someone wants to see 4 or 5 houses, that's great, but that's just not my forte either. So I hired a buyer's agent, and that took that weight off. So I concentrated specifically on getting buyers for the buyer's agent and for myself, as well as listings. And that's where I like to live, because you're managing a project and you're working with somebody that wants to sell their house. They have to, for whatever reason that they are doing that. And so I focused on that. To answer your question, it's gotten even more complicated from there. So now we're entering today. So you have still the social media, you still have all the buyers. Now you introduce everything from, our buyers and sellers are digging into AI. How do you work with that? And it not that it's changed a whole lot, but there's just a lot more pieces to the puzzle that you're going to have to work with.
I think that management comes pretty naturally to you, and so that was something that was pretty easy for you to do when you were getting started, when you were in sales.
Yeah, because
I think there are a lot of people that really shouldn't manage people, who shouldn't start teams. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100. And you could look at teams, and we can get into teams, and I can explain how I've solved for that problem. Uh-huh. But there are teams where the team leader, you either are you're the lead hunter, you're out hunting and you're getting the volume there, or you're not really selling at all and you're managing. And that last part is a fear factor for a lot of people, because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm really good at what I do, and I'm the one that's supposed to go out and bring back most of the
Bacon.
yeah. But now, I have to sit back and watch other people, and they may not do it like me. And if you don't have the stomach for being patient with me, trying to manage and build people up, you're going to run into a conundrum.
How do you know that you've hit that conundrum?
Someone tells you.
Someone tells you.
Someone has to tell you. And that's, I think, the partnership. What I mean by partnership is my job every day is to make sure that the individuals in these teams are successful. And if there's anything that I could help them be more successful with or take away from them that will help them alleviate something, that is helpful. Because sometimes when you're out there, this in sales, you get blinders on, you think everything's good, you're trying to get to that next $100 million or $10 million or $5 million, and you're like, how do I do that? And there's no one really besides another agent, who, by the way, is your competition, that may answer your question. But you're asking your competition, how do I get better? What do you think their answer is going to be? Mm-hmm. And so, but if you had a partner in a especially a non-selling broker, you have the ability to ask any questions and not fear that you're going to be competitive with me. And so what I've done is I've had the ability to take a lot of different teams, a lot of different models that we put together, and then I sit down with somebody like you and I say, okay, I think this is the best model that you should deploy for your team.
Got it. You had said that you had a way that you've solved for people that really shouldn't be managing others, but need to scale their business.
Yes.
What's that look like? Well,
so I would say 5 years ago, gosh, maybe even longer. Time flies, Alex, when you're having fun, right? The concept of a team is always like there's a team leader and then the team underneath of them, or a partnership and a team underneath of them, and those are great. And a lot of those work, and I'm a big fan and proponent of those teams. I mean, we have a lot of those teams. Then there's some people that are like, I want to be kind of on this team. I don't know if I really want to be a leader. Maybe I want to be a partner. And we'll just start at the small part first. And so where that worked is, let's say you and I have known each other and you work really well in Brookside. I work really well in Johnson County. We kind of have the same type of style. So we partner up and we're basically partners. We're not 50-50 partners because I keep all of the money that I make. You keep all of the money you make. But we spend together like we are a team where we might have to hire a social media person. We split that. Or we split, whatever it may be, advertising. So that's how this concept started and grew out. And what we now call a marketing team is, and we're the one kind of blew up. We had 6 people that came off of off of a financial team, which is a head, and then these people underneath. And they decided we want to form a team, but nobody wants to be the team leader. So each agent has their own plan of what they want to do, meaning their commission plan. And I set it up kind of like a law firm. So if you imagine each of these agents being a partner in the law firm, so they all work for the same law firm, but they have their own book of business inside that they're billing to the law firm. So each of them has the ability to keep all of their own commission. They can share if they want to, like say a client was out of town. Yeah, you could do that. But they all agreed that to fund things like the social media or marketing or client events or something, they all agreed to pay in equally to pay for that. And that took a lot of pressure off of somebody that's like, wow, this is kind of cool. So I can literally focus on my business, but I can bring in all of the volume, all of the credentials of the other people on the team that you can look at. And it makes all of a sudden us a pretty big deal. I mean, now instead of being a $5 million individual, we're a $40 million team.
And that helps everybody with their marketing and everything else. And
yes.
Just in eyeballs in general.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then there's and I mean not for this show. We could do it if somebody wants to hear more about it later. But then there's layers upon that inside of a marketing team that you could do that kind of goes back to where, let's say you're on the team and you're one of 6, but you're super busy, and the other team, they're doing their thing, they're partners. You could bring on an agent underneath you, and you could manage that agent underneath you, maybe 2 or 3. So you could end up being one of the partners with 3 associates underneath you.
It's a pretty unique structure, really.
It works great, though.
It was, to your knowledge, was that the first team in Kansas City that was structured that way?
Yeah, and yes, and the way that we did it, we have now a lot of those type teams, and they work out really well. It literally is like what you said. If you're not let's say you're a really good agent, you're selling a ton, you want a team because you want to grow, but you just don't understand how to manage. A marketing team allows you to manage, lets the broker help manage, but then also has the managers of managers inside that team because they're managing each other. And the easiest way to think about it's like a law firm. It's like Polsinelli, right? Polsinelli has partners and they have associates, and all the partners are working for Polsinelli, but they are all billing for themselves and Polsinelli.
And the associates are
working for the partners.
Working for each of the partners.
Yes.
Yeah. So for a brand new agent, one of the things that we've talked a lot about over the years is whether or not a part-time or a full-time setup can part-time work, right? I feel like we're seeing a lot more part-time agents getting started in this industry. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of it has to do with the lack of inventory and unit count crunch. And so there's a perception that the opportunities are less available for new agents. And a lot of managers are even almost encouraging the idea of being part-time. Do you feel like the calculus has changed that much? And do you think that part-time agents have just as strong of a success rate now as a brand new agent? Do you feel like things have changed?
So I've been on this ever since I started, and it's from Jerry Reese. There's productive agents and there's non-productive agents. There's no such thing as part-time and full-time. You could have a full-time agent that doesn't sell anything. You could have a part-time agent that sells 7 or 8 houses while working at H&R Block. So I think the reality to me then is when you don't have a business plan of what you want to do. So here I am at H&R Block, and I want to start selling real estate because I want to phase out of my corporate, job. And Sprint, a lot of people came off of Sprint, did this a long time ago, and phase into selling real estate. You need to have an absolute plan, or you're going to fail, because there is no way that you can do. Most people, and we've had some exceptions, obviously, most people are not going to be able to do that while working at a job and being successful here. And I was having a conversation with a couple brokers from another company the other day, and we were just talking about how there's starting to be an educational gap between the agents that are selling and understanding the contracts, the changes after the lawsuit, all the things that are happening, and people that are not, and it's starting to kind of mess up transactions.
I agree.
So if you have somebody, and again, it's not part-time versus full-time, it's productive versus non-productive. If you have a non-productive agent, they could have been doing this for 20 years. If they're not studying what's happening and why things are changing, and they're coming into a transaction and not understanding what's happening during that transaction, it's a problem. And so what I'm telling agents is the education of understanding what you're doing. Why would you get into a business that you don't understand it fully? I don't understand. Me personally.
Yeah.
It amazes me. It really amazes me. Here you are. You've decided to plunk down thousands of dollars because you want to get into real estate. Mm-hmm. Again, I've told you I've had 2 business plans since I've been a broker.
Of new agents, of people walking in as
anybody,
new agents.
New agents, right? New agents that have come in that have want to do this, and they just, and I'll get to kind of something, but I want to make this point. If you were going to open up, and I always, across the street from me is a Pilates studio, mm-hmm. or you were going to open up a Subway shop, or you were going to open up a sporting goods store, what would you do? You would go down to the bank with your business plan. You'd researched it all. Your bank's going to ask you a ton of questions because they're going to basically loan you the money on a small business loan to open this place up. And you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars a month on employees, on rent, on, advertising, on all those things. Think of the Pilates place, right? They're going to have to reach out to try to get other people from other Pilates places there and spend thousands of dollars. And we're allowing people to just come in that drop a couple $1,000, don't have a business plan, and start their quote business. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of deal we're in right now.
That's the industry. That's the whole industry.
That's the whole industry. And so our job is to rapidly try to train them to understand that. I mean, I see the fallout rate. I mean, after 2 years, you're seeing 78 to 80% of the people that start in this business are out of this business.
I think you can't rely on the association alone for your training.
Correct.
Yeah.
I want someone to stop and really think, is this the industry for me? I'm going to invest in a business like a Pilates shop. I like Pilates. I like Subway shops. I'm just saying if people do. I like McDonald's franchise, back to McDonald's. I'm going to invest in that because I believe in that and I can do it. And then I want to go in and I want to work my ass off to build my business up. I don't just want to get a license, come in and disappear, because that happens a lot, Alex. You know that. And that's why we rely a lot on teams to help us out when agents come in. But, we're spending, any brokerage is spending vast amounts of resources on these agents, trying to get them up and running. And a lot of them are just turning away from the training. And, I'm my own business. I'm going to go out and do a few of these things.
Have you ever turned somebody down that somebody really wanted to hire?
All the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think most brokers would say all the time to that.
I do, because I really love this industry. I love that people are choosing this to come in to make this their profession. I did. And being a 3rd generation broker, I mean, I've seen a lot of people come and go. And if you're going to come in and say to me, and this is what happens, and we've talked about this, I sit down and I say, hey, Alex, how's it going? And your first 2 questions is, how do I get leads and what's my commission? That's not worth my time. I'm done with the interview. So I want to we can address those things. And obviously, the way if somebody says, well, are you just not wanting to give leads? No, I love giving those leads, right? The point is, if you're brand new, is it responsible for me to give you a lead and then have you ask me questions all the way along, or is it responsible for me to give a lead to a veteran agent that can take it and close it?
Well, and that's assuming that they're even going to have the opportunity to ask you questions, because you don't know if this person's even going to follow up with the lead.
Correct.
Yeah. But how can brokerages do a better job of setting expectations and letting people know when they've, like, how long is too long to not sell a house? You know what I mean? When do you know to push somebody to another model that might work better for them? We'll say,
or not work.
Yeah, I mean, go not work somewhere else. You know, how do you know when to do that, and how can we do better as an industry with that?
Well, so a snapshot of that is a team, a team, whatever size it is a microcosm of the brokerage. Okay, so if you're going to be a team and you want to bring people onto your team and hire, you have to have infrastructure to assist with some of these people that have come in, but the people coming in have to understand better what the expectations are, a la a business plan, and have to understand that there is a cost when you come to either a team or a brokerage. It doesn't matter what brokerage it is. And if you're not selling, and we're in a sales industry, if you hired somebody that came in I'll go back to a sandwich shop. You're making a bunch of sandwiches. You get really busy. So you say, I need to hire some people. So think of a team. They get really busy. I need some more agents. So in a sandwich shop, you hire more people. They come in. You're paying them a salary to make sandwiches, and they're standing in the corner while you have a line out the door. What would you do to that person? Yeah, they'd be gone.
Right.
You don't need them. I mean, you're paying them money to make sandwiches. So think of it in real estate terms. If you bring somebody on your team and you're spending all this money to market them, to social media,
or more valuable time. Yeah.
Even more valuable time, and they're not producing, you have to. This is where I have a lot of great conversations with team leaders on what do we do next. And whether it's a performance plan for that person on the team, and it doesn't mean that the person maybe is a bad person. It's just like, hey, if you want to be on this team, you got to do X. If you don't do X, probably not going to be on the team. So it's a two-way street always in this, and that's where I come back to. I really struggle with agents that come in on what they think this business is. It's a sales business. Right. We're selling houses. Right. It's a commodity.
All right, last question.
Oh, we're almost done.
We're almost done. Last question.
Yeah.
You've got somebody, we just talked about how, we want people to be productive, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like there are a lot of people that it takes some people longer to hit right now. I do feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there are people
What is it that holds them back?
Because I think some of it is network. Okay. I think some of it is their initial network.
Is their initial network not believing that they can actually do this job?
Yeah, or it's not primed for them to have a sales job yet, and that's one of the things that they're working on. Or frankly,
so why are they working on that when they get here?
Yeah, they probably should already be working on it.
I go back to, if you want to open up a business, and there's lots of people that open up a business.
Yeah.
You have to go through a business plan. You have to go down and pitch it to unless you're independently wealthy, pitch it to an investor. The investor has to see. If you watch Shark Tank, a lot of those people say, I don't believe in you. I might believe in the product. I don't believe in you. I mean, you're not asking the right questions. So you have to get an investor to kind of get behind you, whether it's a bank. Then you have to go out and you have to execute. So I know you're saying, well, it takes some people a little bit longer to hit. I would like to know, and this is something we could talk about at a later time, what is it they're not doing to hit? Because I think if you worked in this business, I believe if you worked in this business and you worked 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, that's normal, and worked in your business and on your business, whether it's in the office, outside, perusing, going to lunches, doing all that type of stuff, you can't not be successful.
In what time frame?
A year.
In a year, yeah, in a year. And I agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Let's say that somebody's like 3 months in, right? 3 to 6 months in, right? And they're doing everything that somebody's telling them to do. Their circle of influence might be having a hard time believing them at this point, right?
Right.
And because I think we do see that.
And then I would have, if I was in their circle of influence, I would not believe them at all. If I don't believe in them at the beginning, like, I know you're a good guy. I know you can sell my house. I know you're doing this. I don't care if you're new, because if you tell me I've got, a team behind me, or I got my brokerage behind me, I know what I'm doing. I feel good with that, because, that's important.
It's an interesting point. I think that's again, that's something that not a lot of people would say.
Yeah.
I guess if you don't have the asset of a COI, when you first get in, you don't necessarily have something to build a business off of.
Well, but I'm not bought in on all that. I'll give you another example. I have a very successful agent. Actually, I could probably think of 3, but this one in particular. She had just started in Los Angeles, California, and she was with another brokerage out there. And her husband was transferred back to Kansas City, so they moved back here to Kansas City. And she's not from, she's from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
She has built over the last 4 to 5 years an incredible business off of doing open houses and repeat customers. Yeah. And she does an open house every single week. And I went and I was like, okay, I'm going to see how she does this, because there's got to be some trick, right? And so I went to one of her open houses down the street from where I lived, and she was a normal person. She just talks. Hey, Alex, how's it going? You look at, obviously looking for a house. How can I help? Are you working with an agent? Not in their face, trying to make them sign in, trying to do all this. And she's genuine. And I think being genuine is part of the deal. So I don't buy it when someone says, that, I don't trust, my COI doesn't know who I am yet. That's your fault for not seeing that before you got into this business.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Like, wouldn't you be out with your buddies having a cocktail and saying, hey, Alex, do you think that I'd be a good real estate agent? And some of your buddies would be honest and say, no. Dude, you'd be horrible. And then you would be like, okay, I'm not going to get into this. Or some say, oh my, like with me, they'd say, I could bet you could sell everything in town, right? Like, that's part of it is being comfortable and understanding yourself. I mean, not everybody's a salesperson, and in this business, the ones that are very good. I mean, the organized, the teachers, the people that were in sales seem to all do that. People that have kind of psychology degrees, believe it or not, we do a lot of that, are really good, because all those people are in tune with people. They understand that that's a person that I'm talking to, whether, you're a teacher, you did parent-teacher conferences, you talked with the kids, you build relationships with those people. In sales, obviously, you build relationships. In psychology, you're understanding the human wavelengths of what or brain wavelengths of what they're doing, and so you kind of get that. And I think the connectivity is what puts people into place. And when people say, I'm too shy, or I'm too scared, or I don't know how to reach out to my COI, you should have thought about that before you spent $3,000 plus to get into the business.
Don't you think, though, that there could be people out there that haven't been told how to do it, though? Like, don't you think that there are people out there who haven't had candid conversations with somebody, and
so you know what I do, because
they didn't do the research well enough to know who to...
I'll tell you what, if you really, and if I could go back in time, I would have done this for myself, but I feel like since I grew up in this business, I kind of knew it. I would go, and let's say you're a very successful agent. I'd say, Alex, I'll do whatever you want over the next 2 months. I'll run your errands. I'll run your copies. I'll do all this. I just want to see if this business is something that works, that is, for me. And I want you to be honest with me. And you go in and you're doing basically donkey work for that agent to see what real estate's all about. You're at an open house. You're at a listing appointment. You're at this. You're kind of tailing them around. Now but you can't take more than what you give. You give 90% and take the 10% that they're going to give you, and then be like, okay, I get this business now. This isn't for me.
Yeah. Or maybe I love it and I want to be all in on it.
Or the person says, I want you on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not a team is not a collection of agents just to have a large team. Mm-hmm. It's a collection of of individuals that are all working in unison to try to make this thing great. And if you're not selling houses, I don't know how you're part of the team unless you're working, obviously as the marketing person or something like that.
I really appreciate you being here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoy the Big Mac.
I knew you were going to come back to that.
Yeah, going to come back to the Big Mac.
Yes.
Enjoy that Big Mac. The Big Mac's the one with like the 3 pieces of bread,
not my favorite,
right?
Not my favorite, but everybody knows the iconic Big Mac, right? I like the Quarter Pounder with cheese.
You're a double Quarter Pounder or just single
Too
Quarter
much.
Pounder?
Single Quarter Pounder.
Single Quarter Pounder.
Yep.
Do you ever do it with no bun?
No. I eat it just like it's made.
Eat just like it's made. All right, man. Well, enjoy it on the house.
Okay.
On the house.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks, Scott.